That is Kipchumba. You will react to that. And then we have Dennis Brandon says, I disagree with Kipchumba. Raila is idle. That is why he's shaking hands. And then we say that Kipchumba fellow next to you is feeling so much jaundiced opinion against Gideon Moi. There's a lot of reactions to you, Kipchumba, here. 2022 politics, I think Gideon Moi is a man to look out for. That is Evelyn Mungai. Then some of your views there on social media. Keep them coming. Tell us what you think about some of the things we are discussing here. It is a political show. We are discussing some of the biggest governance and political stories here in the Republic. So let's now switch gears a bit, but revisit that issue of the Thursday meeting between Raila Odinga and retired President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi in Kabarak, during which Raila Odinga was accompanied by Senator George Khaniri, as well as Mvita Member of Parliament Abdulswamad Nasir. And then in the Harambee House meeting, he was accompanied by the Suna East MP, that is Junet Mohammed. So a lot of pundits saying or pointing out that he seems to have dropped his traditional pointman. And is he changing tack? Our senior political affairs reporter Duncan Haimba sought to find out.
Almost a month after that surprise handshake at Harambee House with President Uhuru Kenyatta, opposition Supremo Raila Odinga has pulled yet another political surprise when he flew to Kabarak for a meeting with retired President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. His delegation was lean again, only having Mvita lawmaker Abdulswamad Sharif Nasir and Vihiga Senator George Khaniri, and they were received by Baringo Senator Gideon Moi, Tiati Member of Parliament William Kamket, Moiben MP Silas Tiren, and Kanu Secretary General Nick Salat. Sources say during the 2-hour closed-door meeting, retired President Moi lauded Odinga for his decision to reconcile his political differences with President Kenyatta for the sake of the country's unity, cohesion, and integration. Statements from both retired President Moi's office and that of Raila Odinga say it was a courtesy call following the recent hospitalization of the retired president.
They corrected it.
However, the surprise meeting will most likely cause further political jitters across the board, given that amid the fallout in NASA, Raila Odinga continues to enjoy support from Jubilee-leaning political leaders, the church, and the international community. But perhaps it is this meeting with the retired President Moi and Baringo Senator and also Kanu Party leader Gideon Moi that may open another round of political speculation of what could be on the cards for political realignments as President Uhuru Kenyatta's succession race takes shape.
Country and speak with one voice as well.
Yes. The unity with
The KANU chairman is crafting his political future carefully and has remained measured in his statements and moves, even at the height of the differences between Uhuru and Raila after the recent presidential election. This meeting between the two Mois and Odinga could likely trigger political undercurrents that may cause ripples inside and beyond the Rift Valley. Duncan Haimba, KTN News.
So none of his traditional appointments have been accompanying him in various of his last few political engagements, and that is what we're focusing on. We've also had reactions on those on that last visit from some of his NASA core principals. Let's listen in to Musalia Mudavadi on that.
The retired president is a father figure to all of us. And whenever an opportunity is available to talk to him, I think it's something that I would encourage. If you want to be a leader of this country, you must be able to reach out to everybody and to talk to everybody. So when the appropriate time comes, we shall talk. But let's also remember that in the year 2013, we campaigned together with Gideon in the Amani coalition.
Wakienda huko badala ya kuongea mambo ya uhusiano wa Kenya mzima, wanaongea mambo ya 2022. I want to tell them there is no relationship katikati ya ile handshake na vile kutaendelea kule 2022. Kwa sababu wale watu wanaamua 2022.
All right, let's talk about Raila Odinga and his seeming change of tack, if that is the case. But let me start with you, Kipchumba. Maybe you can react to those people who are reacting to some of your statements.
I think maybe they are not getting the point, but the message is home, is that we must, I have nothing personal against the candidature, the so-called candidature of Gideon Moi. You must give it to him as a moderate politician. He's a person who is measured and everything, and he has what it takes to launch a very strong presidential campaign. That being that, I think it is just the usual, iron must sharpen iron. That is the way things are done.
All right, Dismas, let's talk about Raila Odinga. Is he changing tack, or is this just hot air, basically?
When we want to discuss Raila Odinga, we must discuss his father first, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. And Jaramogi Oginga Odinga is an icon remembered for keeping the company of people considered to be sharper than him in the political equation. It's during the time of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga that we saw Ford Kenya. Then he kept the company of sharp Kenyans like Kiraitu Murungi, Paul Muite, Muisa Kitui, the so-called young Turks. He liked to keep the company of people who can challenge his thinking. And that's why Ford Kenya was very solid as a political party then. But when Raila Odinga inherited the political capital, part of it which he built as Raila Odinga, being the enigma he is and the institution he is, you would see that he doesn't like entertaining divergent views or opinions. Actually, when you look at him critically, he's got a very low appetite for divergent views. So when you get into a space that you want to give him advice, if you're keeping his company, then you will be told to take a walk. Two good examples, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o and James Orengo. When they attempted to give him divergent views, they were told to take a walk. And then they had a Damascus moment, they repented and they came back, they were admitted to the fold. One now is a senator and is a minority leader, while the other one is governor for Kisumu. So it's very clear that Raila Odinga doesn't like divergent views. When you're growing your political capital and he sees you can challenge him, he'll create an opportunity for you to take a walk.
All right.
A good example again is Raphael Tuju and Shemo Ochuodo. Even the last altercations we've had in NASA, whereby Raila doesn't have time for people who are giving him alternative views. For instance, when he insisted that I must be sworn in, and people said, can you work on the critical path analysis to understand when you get sworn in what is going to happen? He sneaked in the middle of the early morning, he went to Arambe House for a handshake. And so he doesn't like that kind of company.
So would you say that the likes of, you said Senator Orengo and Governor Anyang' Nyong'o, would you say they're back to the call? Because many people expected to see Orengo feature very prominently in some of these meetings, especially for his very central and key role in that in the Supreme Court petition and all that. But we haven't seen him anywhere since then.
In the absence of Raila Odinga, Governor Anyang' Nyong'o would not be governor in Kisumu. You remember, as we speak, there is a Kano rebellion taking place because he's holding the Luo community. It's a colony. He's holding them hostage. In the absence of Raila Odinga, Governor Nyong'o would be nowhere. In the absence of Raila Odinga, Orengo would not be a minority leader as it is, because he claims that the senators had a meeting on their own and they agreed they're going to kick out Wetangula. You cannot believe that. And if you notice, the people went to visit President, who accompanied Raila Odinga to visit Moi, their fathers were President Moi's appointees. You look at Sharif Nassi, his son was there. You look at Khaniri, his son was there. Essentially, Raila wanted to pick people that when he goes to visit Moi, Moi can remember their parents, because their parents were very solid. During Moi time, Sharif Nassi was the last word in the coastal province. His word was good as law. He kept guard for the president. So when you go with his son, and then you introduce him to President Moi, Moi will have very good memories. But if you just go alone, in the absence of these people that the president remembers very well, there's a very high chance that you may not even get the red carpet. Right. And in my view, what Raila Odinga must do right now is to start encouraging divergent views. He must encourage cross-pollination of ideas. If he was a guy to entertain divergent views and allow debates the way Anyang' Nyong'o does and the way Orengo does, then he would be very strong. Probably would be president today. We are told by people who know Raila Odinga very well that it was a one-man decision not to run for election. I mean, the other principals were shocked that Raila Odinga has taken a decision he's not going to run, and all he was doing was giving explanations. And for me, I don't think that it's a change of a brand. Is that when you are becoming very strong, you're going to be a political threat like Shemo Chodo or Raphael Tuju, he'll automatically kick you out because it doesn't bring divergent views.
Mark Bichacha, let's get your view on the same.
I would not go as far as Dismas to say that Raila Odinga does not like competition. In fact, quite the contrary. The guy loves competition. He's the only candidate I know of who's run in 5 presidential elections in one lifetime, my friend. The amount of courage and tenacity it takes to present yourself to be beaten 5 times and still rise up is not a coward's move. Yeah, count them.
Well,
yes, the 5 times.
The 2007 election, the disputes.
My friend, in 2017, he ran twice. But the point is, the one was beaten twice. The point is that Raila Odinga is a lover of competition. However, as a communication strategist, I have to look at the terms of strategy that he has to employ if he's going to survive the next 5 years. Number one, there's a section of his power base that felt like he let them down when he refused to offer his candidature in the second round. There's a section of his supporters who feel he let them down when his prediction of no election did not come to happen. There's another section that was further disappointed when the swearing in did not work. Then there's the disappointment of the handshake based on how drastic a supporter you are. And therefore, Raila Odinga was left with only one option: going back into the phantom zone and having people guess what is his next move. And that's what he's doing. Today we are sitting here guessing, is he going to change tact? Has he changed tact? Is he going to run in 2022 or not? And that's the place where Raila Odinga thrives. Raila Odinga thrives in the place where he keeps Kenyans guessing, and that's what he's doing. Now, this guesswork, what does it behoove him to do? If you're going to be perceived as different, you've got to also change the friends that you hang around with. So if you get born again today and you're seen with Ben Kitili the same places you used to go, people will say he's pretending. But if you change and you hang out with Owila, people will say, now you've become an angel. This is what you mean. So for Raila Odinga to reinvent himself, he also has to reinvent who he hangs around with. If he hangs out with Orengo, what do we expect? Legal combat. That's what we expect. So when you change and you walk in with Sharif Nasir's son, we don't know what we expect. If you walked in with Haniri, what do we expect? No one knows. And that's what Raila is doing. The guesswork that we are doing is actually the game that he is playing.
Husband, is this about that mystery, the re-engineering of his political strategy?
Yeah, I think it is, to a large extent. A leader who is a firm believer in George Orwell would always tell you that a leader must not be predicted, and a leader should not be seen quite often in public. We hadn't seen Raila Odinga for some time, and then the next thing we saw was Raila Odinga in Kabara. But again, you may want to ask yourself, does he have to keep the company of the same people, the Orengos of this world, the Anyang' Nyong'os of this world? I don't think he has to, because their support is already intact, you know. And what has sold Raila Odinga more often than not is not the Luo nation, but the fact that he transcends, you know, the Luo nation and galvanizes support from beyond the Luo nation. And one of the biggest bases that he has had beyond the Luo nation is in the coastal region. And you'd understand the reason why he went with Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir. And then you look at the people who have been out opposing this handshake and probably having some undertones that call into, you know, question the moves that Raila is taking. One of them is Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, and he went with Musalia Mudavadi's senator. So that tells you that he's actually coming out as somebody who is addressing stuff beyond the Luo nation. And to some extent, he's keeping his support base guessing and, of course, galvanizing them. And I think it is also fair to understand that when Dismas talks about Raila telling Professor Anyang' Nyong'o to take a walk, telling James Orengo to take a walk, I don't think it is the true thing that happened. I remember in 2002, when Raila decided to support President Kibaki, James Orengo decided to run for the presidency. I mean, no one stopped him. He even campaigned all over the country. But when Raila was asked the question, why is it that you're frustrating, you know, the efforts of other Luo leaders, he made it very clear that I'm not frustrating anyone's effort. They're actually running. But I can tell you without any fear of contradiction that even the ones who are running for the presidency will lose their parliamentary seats. They lost. I mean, I don't think Raila voted in Ugenya when Orengo lost the parliamentary seat when he went for the presidency. And it is upon any leader to understand that sometimes leadership does not happen at the national level. You have to be local. Kiraitu Murungi has said this enough times, that he had to go back to the reality that politics is local, and that is why they left Ford Kenya. But going forward, I think it is important for Raila Odinga to change tact, and that is what we are seeing. And from a communication point of view, he's changing tact by giving people something to talk about, and he's at the center of what people are talking about. And that puts him at a good pedestal as a national leader. All right. Kipchumba?
I think he did the right thing, although it's unfortunate that he's doing it a bit too late in his political career, changing faith. He has been known to be taking around and working around with the hardliners. And as he changes tact now to fashion himself as a statesman, he needed to shed off the likes of Akina Orengo, the Tialala and Tibim crew. He needed now to come up with soft people. When you look at the demeanor of Abdul Swamad, he's a soft politician, he's a moderate. When you look at Haniri, the senator, he's a moderate. And that talks to the person Raila Odinga he's turning into. Raila Odinga strictly is a crisis politician. And now that we have no crisis after the handshake, he did not need Orengo in that entourage because there is nothing to be worried about. It is a time of peace, so we need a new tact for him to prevail in these circumstances where we have no confrontation, we have no talks, we have no rallies, we have no Monday Machozi. All these things are over now. We need now people who can help us move forward.
So then he turns into that.
Yes.
But Ben, maybe we should also understand that these people are just not in the picture in the public domain. Probably they are the guys behind all these moves. So we cannot say that he's shut them off.
All right.
Yeah. Well, the reality is this, that has Orengo and the Anyang' Nyong'os and the TB Mantialala crew, well, you can imagine if Raila Odinga went to see President Moi with our resident teenager in parliament, Mr. TB himself, Babu Owino. If he went with him, can you imagine the behavior in the former president's house? The usefulness is over. You do not go with a barking dog to play chess or to play golf. So what the game that Raila Odinga is playing now is played with bow ties and top hats and dinner hats. So the time for street carnage is over.
It's over. Yeah. Let me get your final thoughts on this issue very quickly. So then what next? You know, his supporters will be asking. He's keeping everyone guessing, but does he run for president in 2022? From where you sit, Dismas?
Well, you know, Raila's got two constituencies. The the people are emotionally connected to him. And that's what now political scientists are beginning to refer to as a colony. So the members of that colony will dance to his tune. If he tells them jump, they'll be asking how high. They'll not be asking why.
Do you think he will run?
Probability of him running is approaching 100. It's approaching 100%, yes.
Okay.
That he's going to run, probability is 100%. And that's what a number of politicians in Kenya are looking at. I mean, if you listen carefully to what Kipchumba here is saying and Kipchumba Murkomen, they want him to run, thinking that it will give Ruto an easy ride.
All right. Mark, do you think he's going to run?
This is going to sound very strange. 90% of me is convinced that he doesn't want to run. There are lots of advantages he gets by not running. Number one, he gets to live his sunset years as a hero. He'll be a kingmaker. He will continue to campaign.
And Nelson Mandela.
Yes. So 90% of me is convinced he won't run. But then there's a 10% that is based on history. One, his father's own history, and two, his own history. Raila loves to fight. He loves the wrestling match that is politics. And this 10% is more emotive than the 90%. So this 10% probability that will run is equally as high as my 90% that he won't run. And I know it does not make sense, but that 10% in Raila Odinga is a very strong 10%.
All right. Husband.
I don't want to say what I think, but I want to say what I would love to see. I wouldn't love to see
say
him
what
vie.
you think.
I don't want to say what I think. I don't want to see him vie. That is what I would love to see. Because I've celebrated Raila Odinga since I realized what was going on in the political scene. And I think my journey with Raila Odinga is such that he has reached the apex. He has reached a point where we will celebrate him whichever way. And if he decides not to run and back the candidate who wins, we will celebrate him even more. So I would say what I would love. I would love him not to run.
All right. Kipchumba.
Two things. If Raila runs, he will determine directly or indirectly who wins. If he doesn't run, the same will apply. This way, if he runs today, everybody knows for the last 5 times he has been beaten, everybody knows that this is the same player. He knows which side to put him and to beat him. So I think it will be easy for the people who will be running for president to win the presidency with Raila on the ballot. If he doesn't run, the headache is there. Because you will need to secure his constituents, the one Dismas calls the colonized. You will need to get the colony to support you. That is, and it is a huge colony, it's not a small colony. But looking at it from a purely social point of view, Raila has reached the zenith of his career. He should call it a day in the elective politics. He should now be a statesman, join all the statesmen we have in this country, as few as they are, and now offer advisory and maybe be given to be our envoy in other events.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's take another quick commercial break here on Sunday edition on KTN News. When we come back, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, is in more trouble. This past week, the CEO, Ezra Chiloba, was suspended. He did sue the chairman of Wafula Chebukati for that suspension. The courts refused to lift that suspension. We'll talk about what's happening at the electoral body when we come back. This